Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel has no intention of freezing construction in the settlements unless the Palestinians agree to a renewal of talks according to recommendations raised by the Quartet. Netanyahu made the statements in an interview with the Jerusalem Post on the eve of Rosh Hashanah. On Tuesday, the Jerusalem Planning and Construction Committee approved the construction of 1,100 housing units in the neighborhood of Gilo. The plan is subject to review before its implementation. We plan in Jerusalem, we build in Jerusalem, period, the same way Israeli governments have been doing for years since the end of the 1967 war. Netanyahu continued by saying, life in Jerusalem goes on and development is underway for its Jewish and non-Jewish residents alike. Returning to the peace talks, Netanyahu noted former freezes on settlement construction imposed by Israel in the past failed to entice the Palestinians to renew talks. The Palestinians are doing everything to avoid direct negotiations, Netanyahu said, and their inability to utter the words the Jewish people or the Jewish state cannot be ignored. Hours after the two American hikers were released from 2 years of imprisonment in Iran, it was revealed that 29-year-old Josh Fatal's father is Israeli, and he has visited Israel numerous times. Throughout the period that he was incarcerated, along with Shane Bauer, media worldwide held back from mentioning his connections to Israel. Now with the two back on American soil, the details were finally released for publication. Fatal's father, Yaakov, said that his son Josh's release was the best present he could have received for Rosh Hashanah. Yaakov was born in Iraq and immigrated to Israel and then immigrated to the United States. On arrival, the two also met with 32-year-old Sarah Shoud, who was arrested with the two but released from prison in Tehran last year. Shoud is Bauer's fiancée. The three were arrested on trumped-up charges of allegedly spying on behalf of the United States and Israel after they reportedly crossed into Iran. Speaking to reporters at a hasty press conference back on U.S. soil, Fatal said he and Bauer lived in a world of false lies and false hope during their incarceration in Tehran. Held much of the time in solitary confinement, he said many times they heard the screams of prisoners being beaten, but could do nothing to help them. Unknown assailants blew up the pipeline near Al-Arish that supplies gas to Jordan and Israel. Tuesday's attack was the sixth such attack on the pipeline since February, when former President Hosni Mubarak was ousted from power. Egyptian security officials said 3 men were spotted jumping out of a truck at the Al-Maiden pumping station southwest of El-Arish and opened fire at the pipeline, causing it to explode. The authorities immediately shut down the gas supply as fire brigades were brought in to bring the 15-meter-high flames under control. 1 man was admitted to the hospital after suffering burns. The extent of damage caused by Tuesday's blasts and the effect it will have on gas supplies to Israel and Jordan was unclear. Samar Alawi, the former Afghanistan bureau chief for Al Jazeera, confessed to conspiring in Hamas operations. In a deal reached with the Israel state prosecutor, he received a suspended sentence of 3 years and recognized for the time already served behind bars since his arrest in August, as he sought to leave via the Allenby Bridge crossing for Jordan. Alawi told Shin Bet investigators he was recruited to Hamas in 1993 and served in a senior committee responsible for Hamas operations abroad and fundraising until 2004. In 2001 and 2002, he traveled to Damascus, Syria, and met with senior Hamas officials Musa Abu Marzouk and Khaled Mashal, and reported on his activities. He told investigators in 2000 he attended a meeting in Saudi Arabia where he agreed to participate in a terror attack on behalf of Hamas and also agreed to using his position as a reporter to promote Hamas interests. He also admitted to being a member of the Mujahideen in Afghanistan between 1988 and 1992 and said he participated in raids on local military bases and operations against Soviet forces. Bank of Israel Governor Stanley Fischer cut the benchmark interest rate for the first time in 2.5 years, lowering the rate by a quarter point to 3%. The moves place Israel with Brazil and Turkey, who carried out similar steps in an effort to reduce lending costs in the midst of the global slowdown. Fischer said last week that Israel's 2-year monetary tightening cycle is probably over and that there was room to cut the rate. The Bank of Israel last week reduced its growth forecast for the next year to 3.2% from 3.9%, saying export growth may slow.